this is not the way it's supposed to be, and it's not supposed to be me and people that look like me versus people that don't look like us. On one hand we have, good cops out there who are trying to do good police work, and on the other hand we have guys who are just kind of, dickheads who shouldn't have any power whatsoever. Why is there more crime in our communities? We tend to glorify crime. There's a lot of crime in our communities because of all the systemic racism, because, our people were held back and disenfranchised. And guess what? Now people like him have this bias. Now people like him may or may not have a hatred. Nah, we can't be having that. All right. And we're going to talk about why.
So what's up, guys? This is 𝗏𝗡𝗥𝗘𝗦, and you have reached the Roughneck's Ecom channel. If you want to learn how to make money online or offline, then you need to be right here. I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller. I'm also an honorably discharged Air Force veteran. Graduated from Penn State and started a career as a software engineer and leveraged that to build my businesses. If you guys have any questions on how to make money, you're going to find all your answers right here, so stay tuned.
Well, first off, guys, adjacent to the crime and everything, we have to stop making it an us versus them thing, even though sometimes it is us versus them, because out here in Philly, there's tons of people protesting on our behalf that don't even look like us. All right, they're fighting with us because it's wrong, because they realize there's injustice. If you guys have been, looking at Instagram and Twitter and everything, Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and everyone, Ahmaud Arbery, everyone has been trending, not just from black folks, but from white folks as well. Okay, we have to have an open dialogue and come together so we can change a lot of this, because as long as we sit there and keep trying to be divided, it's not going to make the issue any better. It's not going to go away. Okay, that's the problem. We just keep, not just us, but them as well. People on the other side of Black Lives Matter, where they're like all lives matter. And it just keeps being more and more divisive, because guess what? If people get behind this movement, it in turn helps everyone, because it helps the policing issue. It helps black and white relations, or black and Latino relations, or whatever. It helps minority to majority relations. That's what we need to try to figure out, not sit there and be like, oh, there's crime, there's black on black crime, or white on white crime, and black people do this and white people do that. We all are gonna have to come together on this issue. Yeah, there's racism all over America. I grew up in it. Okay, I grew up in the South. I'm from Mississippi. There's tons of racism there. And going home, you still call boy. You still get bombs dropped on you all the time. But that's not the case everywhere. And while it's hard and while it's difficult to sit there and look at people who don't look like us and be like, you know what, let's extend this hand of friendship and acceptance, we have to. Because these people are still out there fighting with us. There's people out, there's white people out there that are trying to raise black children, black sons especially. They don't have a clue how to do that. They can't teach them about their history. They can't teach them about race relations. The only way that they're going to be able to help their own children is by us being the bridge and helping them out. We don't think about that. We don't think about how this affects people in interracial relationships, or who have interracial children, or things like that. It's always just us. It's always like, yo, this is a black issue, screw you guys. This is a human issue. Yes, it's a Black Lives Matter issue, and it's a racial issue, but sometimes we don't know that for sure, but we jump to the conclusion that it is, instantly jump to that conclusion. In some cases, it's definitely that. Ahmaud Arbery, definitely a racist issue. This one may or may not be when it comes to George Floyd. Should he have been killed? Hell no. And should the other cops, standing around him, have stood up and said this is wrong? Hell yeah, because it's a fraternal order of police, guys. It's FOP, and you know what? They're going to protect their own before they stick their necks out and throw him under the bus. And be honest with you, we did the same thing in the military. Okay, it was a us versus them type of mentality, the same way that's happening right now. Police versus civilians. Black versus white. And I can be the first one to tell you, I did so many wrong things because it was us versus them. It was that brotherhood. It's us. It's always going to be us. We're always going to be right. I ain't going to snitch on you. We're going to ride or die, because guess what? We're all brothers here. And it just it was so divisive. So divisive. And so when I came home and after dealing with all these people in all these different areas and from all different backgrounds and creeds and races and all that, you know, it was only then that I realized I was wrong. It's only then that I realized I needed to do better and be better. And that's, you know, that's what we have to, you know, start getting to is just being better in general and embracing things like, you know, it's not always going to be about us versus them. Okay. And sometimes it is, but you know, right now it really isn't, you know, and we need to talk about why that is. And to all the people saying that the riots and shit, it's just stupid and it's not helping and blah, blah, blah. Stop. Like, you're making it an us versus them problem, okay? You're being so divisive that it's not going to solve anything. Now, the looting and vandalism, definitely not good. The rioting, definitely a form of protest, guys. Like, how do you think we got civil rights to begin with? The rioting, okay? How do you think we got rights for the LGBT community? Rioting, all right? That's how it works. You know, when peaceful protests no longer work, you got to do something more extreme, okay? That's why people are rioting. That's why there's so many things happening right now that we can't possibly comprehend.
Go back and say that's why there's that's why there's protests.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and say it. Yeah.
All right. That's why there's protests. That's why there's rioting. That's why all these things are happening. Okay? Because guess what? When Cap and all the other guys took a knee, you had a problem with that. You know, when people were raising their fist, had a problem with that. You know, when we were peacefully protesting, you had a problem with that. Okay? Now, this is what you get. Okay, this is what you get. And rioting is a form of protest. What would you have these people do besides the looting and vandalism? Like, that's wrong, guys. Okay, that's terrible. Like, we shouldn't be doing that shit. Okay, like, I don't want my city burning to the ground. And Philly's boarded up, and it sucks. Okay, this is a city that I love, and it's been very divisive, and it's terrible. You know, it's terrible. But guys, like, we need to look at all of us. Okay, there's white people out there with us that's supporting Black Lives Matter. They're out there rioting with us. And unfortunately, the media has a lot to play in this because they're catching the black folks. All right. And what happens when you know, you see a black dude out there looting and rioting and stealing from Foot Locker and Modell's and all that stuff, immediately people are like, it lessens our voice. All right. It hushes our voice and it squashes the message. And it says, hey, you know, we're just out looting and all this, and we don't care about, you know, George Floyd or Black Lives Matter or, you know, anything. We don't give a shit. All we care about is just getting sneakers, and that's not true. A few bad apples, you know, ruin the bunch. All right, that's not what this is about. But because the media portrays it as such, it makes us look like animals when all this is happening. But in all actuality, like, everybody's, you know, looting. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, don't fucking matter. Everybody's doing it, and it's stupid. Okay, that is stupid. That loses the message. But we also need to look at, we have people from all races and creeds coming together to support a movement. Okay, to support a movement about people that look like this. So we can, you know, move forward. And in turn, if we move forward, other people are going to move forward too. It's going to solve the fundamental issue of policing. That's what, this is what it circles back to. The policing issue, guys. It's a terrible thing. Police are running rampant, they're doing whatever the fuck they want, and no one's being held accountable. But because they're not being held accountable, things like this are happening, and in turn, now we have the movement picking up and becoming stronger, and the voices are becoming louder. So stop, you know, people on other sides are like, oh, all lives matter. Like, we all know all lives matter, you dumb shit. Like, just, we know it's, what? Like, it's the house on fire analogy. You know, yes, all houses matter, bro, but kind of this house right here is the one on fire. So that's kind of what we need to put, you know, pay our attention to. You know, it's not saying that your house doesn't matter. It's big and beautiful and all that stuff, and it's amazing. But right now, my motherfucking house is on fire, okay? And I kind of want my house put out. And guess what? If that house fire is put out, all the other houses look just as beautiful, right? So that house fire gets put out, gets rebuilt, and then everything looks uniform along the block. That's what we're trying to say. That's what this is all about. If we solve this problem, we can solve the bigger problem of the policing. So stop being a dick and talking about all lives matter whenever you feel uncomfortable with some black person coming around. All right? Now, let's go into the next topic. because this one's going to be a doozy. We're going to talk about this white privilege that you guys get to experience. All right, so let's talk about this white privilege. Whew, this is a good one. Now, unfortunately, for a lot of people that were like, yo, this is going to be inflammatory, it's probably going to piss a lot of people off. But white privilege does not mean what you think it means, okay? People try to weaponize it, and they try to say, swallow your fucking privilege, and da-da-da-da-da, and so on and so forth, and privilege this and privilege that. White privilege is nothing more than white people not having an inherent disadvantage, or their whiteness isn't making it more difficult in life. That's what white privilege really is. It isn't necessarily them being better or being the great race or the perfect race or any of that. Being white just means that their race isn't one of the things holding them back, okay? There are way more poor white people than there are poor black people, like way more. But because our population is smaller and statistically speaking, we make up a large, poor people make up a large, portion of the black community, they tend to throw that out there. Oh, it's white privilege. Like, yes, in a lot of cases, they are more privileged because they got here first. They managed to ravage the land and cultivate the natural resources. And in turn, they made it easier for them to get ahead. And since they were already ahead, they can manage to stay ahead, okay? But being born now, yes, there's white privilege, but guess what? The playing field has been freaking leveled, okay? Education and hard work levels that playing field. Doesn't matter if you go to college, doesn't matter if it's self-education, whatever it is. And you want to know how I know? Think about what you do with your phone all day. Think about this. Now, we're going to talk about privilege. We're going to talk about whether white privilege, black privilege, whatever. Let's break this down. All right? They're blasting Linkin Park in the background. This is perfect for white privilege. But think about what you do with your phone all day. Okay? What are you doing with your phone besides watching this informative video right now? But more often than not, what are you doing? You're browsing the web. You're looking at cat videos. You're doing all types of stupid stuff. You have the sum of human history in the palm of your damn hands. Literally. And what do you choose to do with it? Nothing. So people that look like me, if we're going to scream about white privilege, we need to scream about technological privilege. Because, phone companies like Cricket, Boost, all of that, they're typically in the fucking hood. There's more of those in the hood than anything else. We have access to cheap ass technology because lots of folks want to advertise in the hood to get our money because they know we're going to get that, that stimulus check. We're going to spend it. We're going to get our income tax money. We're going to spend it. Instead of sitting here just looking at, YouTube all day or cat videos or whatever, we need to be using that to educate ourselves and make ourselves better. So that way, when someone screams out white privilege, you can be like, you know what? We can beat them at their own game. Because guess what? You know how many freaking white people I graduated with? In Cherry Hill, it's a predominantly white area. I graduated with a ton. And you want to know something? The majority of those white folks, I drive way better cars and I make way more money than they've never in their lives done $1 million in revenue ever, let alone in a year. How did I beat them? How did I beat their white privilege? By working harder, by being twice as good. Now, is it fair that we have to be twice as good, twice as smart, twice as fast, twice as everything else? No, it's not. But in order to level that playing field and say screw their fucking white privilege, we need to educate ourselves and arm ourselves with knowledge in the fields that they deem worthy, that they classify as privileged. All right, that's how I was able to beat them. And guess what? They could say whatever they want. They could sit there and look at me and be like, this black motherfucker, he's driving these supercars. They're looking though. They're looking hard. Looking real. I mean, they're in there like, ooh, oh, damn my white privilege, and I still don't have one of those. Right? That's how it works, guys. White privilege doesn't mean that these guys are freaking white devils like from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, from Nature Calls. It just means that them being white is not something that holds them back. Actually, being white kind of gives them a leg up. That's really all it is. It ain't saying that they better than us. Because guess what? I'm better than a whole lot of my white contemporaries. They'll never admit it. They don't want to say this black guy, who grew up poor, came out of nowhere and whooped my ass. But it's true. I did. And that's it. That's what white privilege is all about, guys. Like, we just need to, arm ourselves with knowledge and be better. Malcolm X said it best. Back in the day, he was all about you know, building up our communities, taking back our communities, building up our own businesses. Now, I don't necessarily agree with, you know, we need to segregate ourselves and all this, but we need to arm ourselves with knowledge and start putting more wealth back into our own communities, because then white privilege is kind of, it'll dissipate in that area. As far as gentrification goes, guess what? If we start buying up real estate before these developers can get to it and start pushing out our people, white privilege doesn't exist there. At that point, it's black privilege, because we're the ones who's going to be financing, you know, people that look like us. We're going to be the ones that own those businesses. And in turn, we can make our communities what we want them to be. You know, we can make them a place where, you know, whether you're black, white, red, yellow, green, everyone can interact, everyone can have a good time. Everyone can reap the fruits of our labor. That's what we need to be focusing on, not this white privilege shit, okay? Now let's go ahead, let's close this out, because meet Kevin, I'm pretty sure you checked this out. Somebody probably said something and you're like, this motherfucker right here, he just tagged me in this video and he didn't even go over my strong points, which you do have a lot of strong points, but you know, I'm just trying to point out the fact that there's a lot of things that you would, you know, you miss because, I mean, you're not black, bro. Let's just call it what it is. You're not black and you didn't grow up black. You don't have black parents. You got black friends. You might have some black experiences, but when was the last time you had a gun put to your head and you were yanked out the car and they said, you fit the description of a guy that looks, you know, like you, between the height of 3 feet tall, 8 feet tall, 100 pounds, 800 pounds, might have been a fucking gorilla, chimpanzee, we don't fucking know. When's that happen to you? Probably never. You know, that's white privilege. Doesn't mean that you're better, just means that you being white has made it a little bit easier for you to attain the things that you have, and for your children who come after you. Let's go. All right, guys, so to sum it up, you know, we all have to do better on both sides, or all sides really. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or whatever. This is a human issue, and we all need to rally behind it because it benefits all of us. If we can rally behind this movement, you know, Black Lives Matter and everything else, then we can solve the policing issue, because police brutality does happen, okay? It's a real thing, we're seeing it, all right? It happened before, but now it's being filmed. So we solve this issue, you know, we put out the fire at my house so all the other houses can continue to flourish and be pretty, okay? So with that being said, man, be safe, be smart, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the little notification bell, and get into the links below in the description. Meet Kevin, you know, I absolutely love you, bro. I love your content. I've been a huge fan of yours. You know, thanks for making the video and giving me something to you know, kind of talk about and relate to. So, yo, you keep doing what you're doing, be positive, and hey, hopefully we'll link up one day. Be dope. All right, peace out.